Hello everyone, welcome to my video. This is the last section that is being covered in this course, work and energy relations of rigid body. Our first time working with work and energy questions was in chapter 3. Hopefully you still remember there are several benefits of using work-energy relations. You should also recall these parameters we defined at that time. In this chapter, really it is just a matter of applying what we already know from chapter 3 to rigid body by considering the body's motion, which is a combination of translation and rotation. We will have slightly different variables in the equation, but the core is still the same. If you forgot, please take a moment to review lecture 12 and 13, section 3.6 and 3.7, as needed. We know that work done by any force can be calculated using U, representing the work, is the integral of force times distance, F dr. Now, I want you to think about a couple, a force couple, two forces acting on the same object with same magnitude and opposite direction, separated by the distance b. This couple creates a moment F times b. We assume that the crate stays on the ground for the whole time and travel for a distance r. Based on the definition of work, looking at this crate as a system, there is no net work done by the couple, as one force does positive work and one force does exactly the opposite to cancel it. So there is no net work done to the system. Therefore, for translational motion, the couple does not do any work. This is the first point you need to make sure you're understanding it. For the general plane motion, there is more than just translation, of course. So rotation is the next we need to consider. Let's rethink about this motion for the crate to travel distance r. Since we already proved that if there were only translation, no rotation, then there is no net work done. Therefore, we can expect that the work done by a couple is only caused by rotation. So let's pull all forces vector together. Please note here the difference in color, where black is the beginning and gray is the end position. At the beginning is F, at the end is the gray colored F. From the vector diagram, for an infinite small time interval, the crate rotates by an angle d theta. And the work done is just du equals to F times b d theta. Right, that's the small distance traveled for that force F for a small period of time. One force, the other one, is at the rotation center, which does not do work, and the other rotated by d theta. So we can use the basic work equation, du equals to fb d theta, to represent that total work done by this couple through rotation in that infinite small time period by rotating with the angle d theta. Also, since our couple Fb equals to m, the moment, we can conclude with the general equation to calculate the work done by a couple, that is U equals to integral m d theta, because Fb equals to m. So this is essentially combining Fb to become m, doing the integral. Hopefully, with this example and all the knowledge you have from previous chapters, you can see that all plane motion can be treated as translation plus rotation. And this is not the first time we have done this. We have done this so many times. Therefore, let's look at this energy work relation for rigid body by breaking them into translation and rotation. For translation, all points or all parts on the rigid body moves in the same way. So we can simply use the same equation as before. The kinetic energy T equals to 102 mv squared. For fixed axis rotation, we need to consider the mass moment of inertia, which will go against the rotation. So our kinetic energy will become T equals to 1 over 2 omega square I naught. And where this sum of mi ri square is the definition equation of the mass moment of inertia. So we replace it with just I. That's how we get this T equals to 1 over 2 omega square I naught. It's derived from the basic kinetic equation 1/2 mv squared. Therefore, combining translation and fixed axis rotation, the kinetic energy for general plane motion can be represented in this equation, combining two parts, translation and rotation, 1 over 2 mv squared plus 1 over 2 I naught omega squared. Be careful here. Since we have the moment of inertia of mass center O, this equation only holds for our interest about the mass center O. Looking at this equation, you can clearly see that the total kinetic energy is contributed separately by translational velocity v and the rotational velocity omega. Then what if we don't want to use the mass center? Sure, that's fine. We can use any other point as long as you can calculate the right mass moment of inertia of that point. One example here is to use the instantaneous center of zero velocity, point C. Since this special point has zero velocity, then the 1 over 2 mv squared part becomes 0. It does not have any velocity. And the rotation part becomes 1 over 2 IC, the instantaneous center of velocity point C, times omega squared. And this mass moment of inertia of point C has a special equation you can use. IC equals to I naught plus md squared. And the d is apparently the distance between the mass center O to the instantaneous center of velocity C. Okay, that's all about kinetic energy. Luckily, there is no variable change in potential energy. We'll still use the same thing as we did in chapter 3. I would like to remind you a few things here. Recall from chapter 3, we have U1 to 2 and U prime 1 to 2. This is differentiated by whether treating gravity and spring force as a force or as potential energy. If you treat them as potential energy, you will be using the U prime. If you're treating them as force, you will be using the U. It's just a slight difference. Just really depending on your preference. Just make sure you are being consistent. Either way is fine as long as you are being consistent. Perfect. Now, we have potential energy, which did not change from what we already know from chapter 3. We had kinetic energy on the previous page, which changed slightly. You have to account for the translation and rotation. This is all we need to solve questions related to work energy of rigid body. Lastly, the power. Since energy can be treated by looking at translation and rotation separately, so does power. Here we have the total instantaneous power P equals to force times velocity plus moment times angular velocity, where the Fv comes from the translational motion and the m omega comes from rotation. Alternatively, we can calculate power by taking the time derivative of the total energy if it's known. This is by definition. Of course, this will work. We can also expand this equation to see that we are going to end up with the same equation on the top, where R here is just the single resultant force. So this equation can be interpreted as the rate change of kinetic energy of rigid body is given by the resultant of all forces, represented by the letter R, plus the resultant moment about the mass center of all forces. Still, we are having two parts, translation and rotation. This is the key. Here's a list of recommended readings. For those of you who are in my class, thank you for taking your time to watch all the videos before or after each class. I sincerely hope they are helpful and delivered an overall good, if not great, learning experience for you. For the last few lectures we have left, I will be doing some catch-up if needed and do a review of the entire semester to help you prepare for the final exam. So please come to class. For everyone that has been watching these videos, I hope I have helped you as well at some point to some extent. Whether it was a simple inspiring moment or I made some concept clear to you, these videos will be available here permanently, so feel free to share and or leave any comments below if anything is not clear or can be improved. Once again, thank you for watching all my videos. Bye for now.